Good morning everybody and welcome back to another video. In today's video I have some changes that are hopefully going to fix the low idle issue that we've been having with the Manual Swapped E36. And the first out of the issues is I believe that the exhaust headers to the actual main exhaust is just not seating properly. The bolts are extremely rusty, the nuts are extremely rusty, and honestly I should have replaced the head gaskets when I went through and did them anyway, but I wanted to send it and just see, because it wasn't going to affect whether the car ran or not, but it could definitely have an effect on the low idling issue. So what I did was I went ahead to Turner Motorsports, which is pretty much where I buy all my parts, bought some new gaskets. So I'm hoping that these are gonna work just fine. You know, they're nice and pretty. They were super cheap. I got both of them for I believe about $9. Now, the main suspect when it came to my order being very, very expensive was this right here. This is the crankshaft sensor. This is from BMW. I didn't want to do it initially, and that might be the reason I'm still having the low idle issue. If you guys remember from a video a long time ago, I replaced this and the camshaft sensor with ones that I got from O'Reilly's. Now, I believe they were the Hello brand, so, you know, they were 50 bucks each. I was trying to save some money. This one right here, this single sensor, was $144. And I still have yet to buy the camshaft sensor. The only issue is that one wasn't available to be shipped until August 5th. Well, that's a lot of months away from now, and Turner doesn't ship orders that aren't fully completed yet, so it would have taken me about 3 months to 4 months, maybe even 5 months, if they didn't get the part early, just to get these small parts. So we're going to replace the gaskets on the exhaust, we're going to replace the crankshaft sensor. I also bought some new hardware because I am a little stupid, and when I put the crankshaft, specifically the crankshaft sensor away, just because it's under the car and under the starter, when I put that one back, I knew that the bolt that held it in was a little stripped, and I went ahead and went through with it anyway, which is, you know, probably not the smartest idea I've ever had, but hopefully I can get it out, and that's actually my only concern. And for the exhaust, I'm gonna be using the Scotch-Brite pads to hopefully be able to clear up any extra rust that I can get off of the nuts or the bolts, and hopefully it can seat properly and maybe the car will sound a little different. We should be able to tell pretty quickly what's going on. So before we get started with any of that, we're gonna disconnect the battery and we're gonna jack up the car. I think we're gonna start on the exhaust first just because it should be the easiest, but I also need to go through and level all of the tires, because as you guys might know, the coilovers on this car are all set to different heights. I made a little YouTube short about it, so if you guys saw that, you guys know what I'm talking about. I absolutely love the way this rear wheel sits, but the issue is all of the other wheels, like this monster truck fitment over here, they all sit completely different. So this sits perfect, so I'm gonna take this wheel off once the car's in the air. I'm gonna measure it up with a little caliper tool that I have, and then I'm gonna hopefully get as close as I can to getting all the wheels aligned so they all just sit better. The car should ride better. The issue might also come down to the hard and the soft version of the springs. Now that I've never messed with on this car, and there's a lot of options. So aside from all that, that'll be later on. Let's get to working on the camshaft and the exhaust. And then let's get this car sitting flush. So now that we're under the car, I'm assuming that these right here are my culprits. We're gonna be replacing both gaskets to go in between both of them. And then honestly, it doesn't look too bad up there, but as you can tell, it does seem to be a little bit like there's like a good gap between them. So hopefully just doing this doesn't cause too many issues, and if anything, it fixes them. I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to loosen these bolts, and then down there where I have my jack set up, there's 2 more bolts. If I loosen those, it should allow this whole top set to just kind of fall down a little bit. Then we're gonna clean these up with some WD-40 and some Scotch-Brite pads, and then we should be good. Cool, so now that we have all the bolts out, you know, I wonder if I can pull this off without lowering that back half. It would make life a little bit easier. So this is the old gasket, and this is the new one. Side by side, a pretty big difference. I mean, honestly, they both kind of just look like they're made out of cardboard, so I'm hoping that that's not the case. But this is the new one, this is the old one, and honestly, this one is rusty and it looks beat up to shit. Hopefully this new one fixes our issues. But before we can put this brand new one on, we do have to clean off the surface so that hopefully, if this is the issue, we just make it work even better. Oh yeah, dude, this fucking Scotch-Brite on these bolts is looking like it's working wonders. God damn. I'm just seeing a bunch of like metal shavings and dirt come off. This measly little Scotch-Brite pad is making these bolts look brand new. This is fucking awesome. Hopefully it fixes the issues we're having. Okay, so everything seems to be cleaned off. This Scotch-Brite pad definitely put in some work because it is much darker than it started off as. So now we can put on the new gaskets, and once again, I'm just happy you didn't have to drop the whole exhaust for this. So let's put the new gaskets on, clean out these bolts just a little bit with some WD-40, and then let's get back to work. The fun perks of having one wheel that are different from all of the rest is that you need a special key to get one wheel off. So that's why I have this fun little contraption. And if anyone is wondering, no, you don't have to take off the wheel to get to the crankshaft sensor. I'm just doing it so I can slide under the car easier. So fun fact, I have an entire set of these little hex Allen keys built for the ratchet. I need a 5. The 5 is the only one not in the set. As in, I have lost it. It is somewhere in this mess I call the garage. So, our boy right here is gonna be putting in some work. It's brand new, came with the kit of bolts. So, hopefully, we have no issues because your boy, not really the smartest person who's ever done it. You know what they say? And this is why you don't reuse the same bolt if you know it's bad, because it's just gonna cause, how do I say it, more issues. So I'm probably gonna have to try and fucking, let's see if I can make a little hook with a zip tie. Maybe this will work. I doubt it, but definitely doesn't hurt to try. And if it works, it works. That'd be sick. Damn, wow, holy fuck. We found it. Let's fucking go. Okay. Now, if my calculations are correct, this should be a lot easier. Oh. Holy shit. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see that. Maybe at some point. Look at that shit right there. That is fucking useless. Holy fuck, how did that come out? I don't even know. I'm not gonna complain though because it's working. Okay, I'm gonna reuse the little rubber gasket on this thing too, just because I didn't buy another one. So, and this is brand new too, so we're in good hands. Okay, so I'm looking at both sensors right now. This is the $140 BMW sensor. This is the $50 O'Reilly sensor. And if I'm being completely honest, I mean, aside from the obvious, they are the exact same. If anything, the BMW one has a slightly thicker metal that bolts the sensor to the engine, and it's got a bunch more numbers written on it, so probably BMW part numbers. So, if you were to hand me both of them and say, find out which one's the BMW one, I probably would not be able to, simply because the only difference literally is that there's numbers on the other one. So maybe that would be a good clue, but now I'm gonna put on the rubber gasket. You know, I called it a gasket in the video, and a bunch of people got mad at me. It's actually an O-ring, fuck you. Gasket, if you Google the definition of gasket, it's the same fucking thing. Anyway, so now we have our BMW sensor with the brand new rubber O-ring on it. And now we have to find a replacement for this stupid fucking bolt. But fortunately, I bought a pack of 600 bolts, and I'm just gonna figure out which one's the same size. These ones look the closest. Same thing, let's fucking go. We have old, and now we have bright, shiny, and brand new that doesn't have a fucking worn out hole. So, oh god, I almost dropped it. Okay, well, time to put this back in. And we now know, just to double check so I don't go fuck myself. Oh yeah, that's gonna go in fucking right away. Let's go. No shot, okay. So I didn't know this. There's a hole into the transmission right here. Okay, I need to actually lock in then, because if I drop this bolt into the transmission, I'm just gonna kill myself. Okay, I think I just stripped it. Time to start the car and see if anything is better. Maybe, if we're lucky, check engine light won't still be there. Okay, so we've got the exhaust gaskets refreshed. We have 2 brand new ones in there, and we really made sure that the bolts were in there. So that should be fully locked up. We have the battery back in, and now we have a brand new from BMW crankshaft sensor. So I still need to do the camshaft sensor, but that one probably won't be here for a few months. Just how it is when you're trying to buy parts from the dealership. Also, this car is really fucking old, so I'm kind of just happy in general to get any parts for it now. So we're gonna start the car, and if I'm lucky, no check engine light. And if no check engine light, well then I don't need a camshaft sensor. So we're hoping this one sensor fixes everything essentially. Okay, so we're in the car. Still a mess. Yes, I know we haven't fully put everything back together yet, but that's because there's a bolt down in there that it fell into the depths. So I have some like magnets that I'm trying to use to get it out. Not working. So once I get that bolt out, we're gonna put the interior back together. I also redid the steering wheel because you guys probably never would have noticed, but I put it on like slightly off the first time I ever put this on, and I just never went to work through it. But the reason I went and took it off was because I actually bought a new turn signal stock because this one wasn't working. But it turns out it wasn't actually the switch, it was actually the relay that's under the hood. I just sprayed some contact cleaner in there and I dusted out the inside where the relay actually plugs into, and now it's working just fine. So how long it'll last for, I don't know, but this is still the old stock. But I do have the brand new stock right here just in case something does happen. So let's see. First off, let's see if the car starts. I see lights on, so that's good. Probably still gonna be kind of loud, but we'll see. Okay, I see lights. Okay. But it actually seems to be idling pretty good. I know it's not warmed up yet. But also, I don't know if I'm tripping, but I don't hear like any noise from up there. If you guys remember my last video, I was talking about how I could hear so much noise coming from up there, coming into the cabin from through here. It actually sounds like I'm not hearing a lot of stuff from up there. So I don't know if it's because the car is just started, it's working through its stuff, and we're not like womping on it yet. But so far, I actually hear the exhaust from the back of the car, which is nice. I do know that these sensors might take a second to kick in. So although it's working perfectly fine right now, I can see it's hovering at 600, which is actually really good. I think that's what it's, I mean, that's a good idle, but before we were idling, like when I turn on the AC, it was idling at like 300 to 400, which is terrible. Now, the thing is though, once the car warms up, I'll turn on the AC to see if it like dramatically drops. And yes, I do know that like when the AC is running, it'll drop the RPMs a little bit because it's causing your engine to work harder, blah, blah, blah. But like, I highly doubt it should drop it like a couple hundred to where the point where like the car is like struggling to stay alive. But so far, just by replacing the exhaust gaskets, it might be placebo and I'm just not hearing it right now. But it actually genuinely sounds quieter in the cabin and I'm not hearing like so much noise from the front of the car. The car is idling at about 600 right now. So it's idling pretty well. Hold on, let's hop out. It does sound good so far. Yeah, you can hear the exhaust. Dude, honestly, I know I don't have a full exhaust kit on this car. I do love the way it sounds though. From Turner, it's only an axle back exhaust, so it's nothing insane, but let's see. Honestly, it sounds a lot quieter up here. I genuinely think that those exhaust gaskets were just ass. I mean, I don't know if I showed you guys or if you guys were able to see like a proper view of them, but this is what they look like. Hella rusty, hella dated. Honestly, if these aren't the ones that came with the car 25 plus years ago, well then, I don't know who put them on because they went through hell and back. But so far the car actually sounds really good and it's gotta be warmed up by now and I can see it. It's at like 550, 600. We do have a check engine light. So honestly, I might head to O'Reilly's, see if they can clear the code and rebump it, and then maybe it might actually fix itself because the car is idling really well right now. So I know I said we were gonna fix the tire alignment right now. but low key, it's not gonna affect the way the car runs. So I think we're gonna head to O'Reilly's, we're gonna get the code checked and make sure it runs and starts again. That's pretty exciting. I mean, if it was just those two, and if the camshaft isn't an issue, although the camshaft is the same O'Reilly's brand, so it might actually be a problem, should just be smart to replace it anyway, we might actually be in luck. And also, I think the gaskets are putting in work, so I'm really happy about that. So let's make our way. Okay, so I lied. I started working on the tire adjustment height, whatever you want to call it, and I'm confused already. So this is the way it looks under the rear. Yeah, and this is how it looks under the front. Not the same. I do know this needs to go down a bit. So, not great because I actually don't have like, I'm trying to match the back over there, but this right here is very different. So I'm gonna lower it like, I don't know, whatever that is, and do the, we'll figure it out. I'm confused. Okay, so double update, I'm not gonna do this. I need someone with a little bit more professional skills than me to do this because I started twisting it off with the wrenches I got and the whole thing started spinning. I'm pretty sure it's only supposed to be the collar. So yeah, so we're gonna skip it. We're gonna go to O'Reilly's and see if they can clear my check engine light. Oh yeah. So right now you guys can probably hear that bolt that's rattling through. That's the one I'm trying to get out with the magnet that's not working too well. But I have a magnet stuck down there. And I'm hoping that at some point during this drive, it'll just catch on and we'll be all set to go. Oh yeah, dude. So as I'm speeding up, it is very noticeable that the front of the car where the exhaust was having all those issues before is 100 times quieter. And I do apologize, I do have to yell. It's actually quite quiet in here, but if you guys can hear that really loud, like annoying, like chinging noise, that's that bolt that I'm struggling to get out. So if anyone knows how to get it out, I'll give you $5 to come to my house and take it out because it is killing me. But quite literally, aside from that, the car sounds great. Like if you ignore the random chinging noise, the car actually sounds really good. But so far, and then it stops. This is the most annoying part, is it actually stops when I stop. So it's like, if it chinged now, it'd be like, ah, that's annoying. Anyway, so from the short drive that I've had coming up to the highway, this will be the part where we're able to most realize what's going on. And so we're gonna go, we're in first, second, which is a little aggressive, third, it's a little notchy getting into the gears, which is like a little annoying. I think, you know, the gearbox genuinely is just old, so I don't know what could be causing it. But aside from that, so far, I can tell you with 100% guarantee that the front of the car is making way less noise. So, honestly, we fixed the exhaust issue, which is great news. So it is really nice to say that my right blinker works again. I know as a BMW driver, it's a little sinful, some would say, to use your blinkers on the open road because why would you? But I can say with high hopes and lots of praise that it feels good to know that I'm not going to get rear-ended going into a store when all I wanted was a gallon of milk and to leave my kids behind. Yeah, the great news is those $9 exhaust gaskets have completely fixed our front end issue of it being way too loud. Because the thing before in the last video, it's like, yes, I know, most of my car is missing. Oh, there's a fucking biker gang up there, that's sick. Most of my car is missing, and that sucks. So it's like, oh, well, no shit, your car's gonna sound louder. But I've driven this car quite a bit. I have only put about 8,000 total miles on the car because I've just been putting so much work into it. But I know what a car sounds like, and the whole point of the exhaust being routed out the back is that it comes out the back, you know, that's the whole point of it. Well, we've made it to our friends at O'Reilly's. Time to go inside and find out if anything is still wrong with this car. So we've just gotten our codes read at O'Reilly's and the news has come in, and the news is the exact same thing that we had previously. So it's still saying that the camshaft and the crankshaft are not working properly. My thought is, well, we have a brand new from BMW crankshaft sensor, but we still have the off-brand Hella camshaft sensor. So I'm assuming since one is bad and one is very expensive, and I'm hoping it's not another issue,
they're just not communicating properly. So I'm going to order the BMW brand, oh God, it hurts to say that. I'm going to order the BMW brand camshaft sensor. We're going to install that in like 6 months when that bitch gets here. And hopefully we have nothing. I did have my check engine light cleared just in case. So if it pops back on, I'll get my codes read again, because to be fair, these are just from what the codes read tonight. So everything is still the same so far. Nothing new has happened. So new sensor, no new issues, but we're gonna find out if that new sensor fixes our old ones. So let's head back to the house. Okay, so we've just completed our drive from O'Reilly's back home, and we have good news, essentially. The only bad news is that until the check engine light appears back again, I won't be able to get a different sheet that shows me any new problems the car might have, but by reading the car again, I have another copy of this paper. Crank camshaft are still bad. Crankshaft brand new from BMW, camshaft bad, cheap from O'Reilly's. So we're gonna order that part. It'll hopefully be here in not 6 months from now, but we're gonna see what happens. Once the check engine light appears on again, we're gonna be able to go back to O'Reilly's, get another code read, and if it pops up with the same paper, we might have an issue. But until we get the camshaft replaced with a brand new one from BMW, I'm not really going to worry anytime it says crankshaft, because although they kind of sort of work together, I assume that one is going to stop the other from appearing and doing its job properly. So that's all good. We have completely fixed the issue with the exhaust being way too fucking loud in the front. And although, once again, my entire interior is missing, there's literally nothing here except for a shift knob that pops off. So we've completely fixed that by replacing the gaskets, and we were just having a small exhaust leak. We kind of assumed that was the issue anyway. So we fixed those for $9 and some Scotch-Brite pads. Not a bad deal if you ask me. We also have fixed the turn signal. Now, I didn't do that in the video. It took a lot longer to do than I thought. The fix for the turn signal was not needing to buy a brand new turn signal stock. No, it was using some duster air and some electronics cleaner and just putting it on the relay, and all of a sudden it works perfectly fine, which is great. I also re-straightened out my steering wheel because it was crooked when I put it on the first time. I just didn't have any ambition to do it. It took me maybe 3 minutes. It probably took longer to find the impact socket than it did to put the steering wheel back on, but now that it's back on, I'm happy, and the car just looks better on the inside. So really, the car is doing great. The one issue was once the codes were cleared on the engine, the car did not want to start. But unlike last time where the codes were cleared and the car didn't want to start for like 15 minutes, I cranked it, stopped, cranked it, started right up. So everything's working pretty well. Really the only downside is, the only thing I haven't been able to fix is the fact that this fucking magnet, it didn't catch the bolt. Oh my God. Essentially, the good news is the car is running great. And so we're making some really good progress. The car is almost complete. Literally, once I get that bolt out, the entire interior can go back in. We're gonna buy that camshaft sensor. And then as far as I'm aware, we're done. I mean, we have leaks, we have oil leaks, and we have power steering fluid leaks, which are not great. But so far they're not harming anyone, so why do I care? But anyway guys, we have made a ton of progress on this car, and honestly, it being a manual is fucking sick. This is my third time driving it. I do need to do the break-in miles. I'm at like 30 or 40 and I need 500 before I can really start like seeing what the car can do with the lightweight flywheel and, well, just a manual transmission. If you enjoyed this video, like always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Peace.